Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for this weird angle, but we're going to talk about this skirt. So this is the Gertie Picnic skirt, which I will put a link to her YouTube tutorial on how to make this skirt. This is a no pattern skirt. And I have to be honest, I like the way this skirt looks, but I don't like the way it looks on me. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that why that is. But honestly, it's no reflection on Gertie's actual pattern, which is super easy to follow. And I actually did not do her exact instructions, and I'm going to let you know why, a couple of reasons why. But first of all, remember I hold this fabric from Goodwill. I'm sorry about this angle. I know it's weird, but I'm trying to show the skirt more than myself. Remember I hold this fabric from Goodwill. It is definitely some type of a cotton and polyester blend, which I noticed when I started to sew it because it began to pull a little bit here and there. I only had, was some weird amount. It was like 2 yards and like 4 inches or 6 inches, something like that. Gertie's recommendation is 4 yards of fabric. So I basically took kind of what she was talking about and cut it in half. Like she has a 4-inch hem on her skirt. Obviously I don't. I have like a 2-inch hem. Now this is folded twice, so technically it's about 4 inches. She does like a 4-inch hem and then folds it twice. So it's like 8 inches, or maybe it was 3 inches, and she does it 6 times. Same with the facing for the buttons. She does this really large piece of fabric. She folds it once, then she folds it again. She does all of the sewing. I did use her method, well, I tried to use her method for using dental floss for the gathers, and it worked great, except a little over halfway across my fabric, when I was doing the gathers, I ran out of dental floss. So I went and grabbed another dental floss, and it was like the cheap one that the dentist office gives you, and it didn't work. Like I couldn't get them to work. I used the Glide, it's called sheet floss, or they don't call it floss. What do they call it? I can't remember. Ribbon, something like that. It's kind of flat and it's larger. And it worked great. In fact, now I'm going to use this method all the time for the gathers. It worked great, except that one whole half of my gathers didn't really gather. I also didn't have as many gathers as she did. So let's talk about the pockets. The pockets, I did her pockets. I pretty much followed her instructions on the pockets. My buttons, I love these vintage buttons. I don't know how well you guys can see them. Let me take this down so we can get a close-up of the buttons. We'll talk a little bit about this. I think adorable, right? Okay, so I had some major problems which were unrelated to Gertie's patterns. By the way, this tutorial is excellent. I actually think that if you have someone who's learning to sew, this is a great tutorial for them to learn to sew on. I'm going to move now that I have this down. I had issues. I didn't have as much fabric as she did, so I had to alter that based on that and some other things. I had a seriously difficult time with my buttonholer. I don't know what happened. It just started to do this thing where it just kept putting the thread into the same spot, and then it was almost like eating the fabric. It was really weird. So I'm going to show you the first buttonhole. You can kind of see it's not in the right place. I'm going to have to correct that. You see it's not really in the right place. And I had to take apart another buttonhole that was down here. And then I then tried to go in the opposite direction with the buttonholes. I figured, well, it won't be a big deal if I do, start with the buttonholes going on the horizontal and then switch to a vertical buttonhole. Well, that didn't work either. So let's see if I can find the spot. I don't even know if you guys are going to be able to see it, but I'll show it to you. So I actually started to do a vertical buttonhole here, and that's when it started to do that weird thing where it was like eating the fabric. So I cut it up and I tried doing them across, and then the rest of the time they worked. Like, so you can see this buttonhole is fine. It's just done across. So that was a real issue. Again, nothing to do with Gertie's pattern, just an issue that I had with my sewing machine. I ended up taking it apart, cleaning it out, really good. Got a lot of dust out of it, and then it seemed to be working okay. But it was still, you know, unfortunately, it was kind of too late for that one little buttonhole. And then this one is just a matter of it started to act up again when I got to the last button, which was this top one. So you might ask, and I'm sure some of you are thinking, that's super cute. Why do you not like it? Okay, this is why I don't like it. Again, has nothing to do with Gertie's pattern. And the fact that I didn't actually even really follow Gertie's pattern, but it's not so much either of those things. This skirt is a very specific kind of skirt. It doesn't have that kind of really traditional 40s nipped in kind of waist that I like. Like the shirt I just made has a highly defined waist. The reason I say that is because you have 3 darts on either side across the front and a back dart, which create a nipped look, even if you are chubby straight up and down from your boobs to your hips. It makes you look like you have an hourglass figure. This would have looked fabulous on me back when I was in my 20s and I had an insanely abnormally small waist. At one point, my waist was something like 11 inches smaller than my hips. I'm not kidding you. Like, I think I had a 27-inch waist and a 38 hip or something crazy like that. And I was almost disproportionately bigger on the bottom, which I'm traditionally a pear shape. One of the reasons I love the 40s is because the pear shape is really balanced out in the 40s by shoulder pads and the way things are cut to the natural waist. And then they fall gently, but not enormously around the hips. Because you would think putting a lot around your hips and kind of camouflaging them would be a good idea. It's actually not. What happens is having all that bulk around your hips just makes it look like you have even more hip than you might actually have. So I don't really love that. I made this because I wanted it to do an experiment. Will I wear it? We'll see. I'm going to try and style it in the summer with a tank top and see how I like it with a tank top, which unfortunately right now I have all of them are in my summer storage. I haven't taken them out yet because it needs something to balance it out. I'm also thinking if I got some type of a peasant blouse that had a ruffle across here, either off the shoulder or on the shoulder, something that added some volume up here, I might like the way this skirt looks better. Because my issue with this skirt right now is when I put it on is I just look like straight up and down with the skirt, because if you look at the skirt, the gathers really don't define your waist. They're just gathers for the fabric. And then you just have a fairly thick, waistband. And the directions, I did follow the directions on the waistband, so it's a fairly thick waistband. It does sit at my natural waist. I just don't feel like it's flattering for me. But all in all, I have to tell you, this is a great pattern. It's a great pattern for a beginner. That dental floss method, now that I know that, man, I'm going to use that forever. In fact, I'm going to find her video on doing that method because it's an old one. It's from back in the day before she was famous, before Gertie was famous, when she was just Gretchen Hirsch. And I'll link that below. But in the meantime, I have to say, go ahead and try this recipe. Go ahead and try this pattern. I mean, look, I did do the little turned out pockets and super cute. See, I did a little cross stitch right in the pockets. And I like the way the pocket direction changes against the skirt. And I love these buttons. So, I mean, I might end up wearing this skirt, but I don't love it. Maybe if I lose some weight, I'll wear it, which I hate to do. Should never do that. Wear clothes that you can fit in now, that you feel good in now. Don't buy clothes or make clothes for when you lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds or grow 6 inches or get breast implants. Buy clothes that fit you, that make you feel good now. That's always been my philosophy. So anyway, that's it, guys. If you like this video, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to know if anybody else has made this or tried the dental floss method. And yeah, until the next video, I will see you. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.